Vysíláčeckou. Můžeš angličtině platit, kde jsme. What is the Zoom link? What is the Zoom link? Alex Zoom.
The Zoom link.
To go on Zoom.
Who's that? About well, it's the same Zoom link we used for Chaitanya Charitamrita last month. It's at 418-2037. 386-418-2037.
I guess go on the baby thing. Baby phone. You want to go on the baby phone?
It's the same Zoom link we used last month for Chaitanya Charitamrita. 2037.
Thanks. And then it's there.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. It's January 4th, 2025. We're here in Lisnice, Czechia. And we're at a Krishna Consciousness Bhakti Yoga Enlightenment program. We're studying Bhagavad Gita as it is chapter 18 entitled Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. Text 68. Text 68. 1868.
Right. It's spaced out.
Ya idam paramam guyam mad bhaktesh bhavidasyati bhaktim mai param kritva mam evaishyat yasamshaya ya idam paramam guyam mad bhaktesh bhavidasyati bhakti mai param kritva mame veshyat yasamshaya ya idam paramam guyam mad bhaktesh bhavidasyati bhakti mai param kritva mame veshyat yasamshaya ya idam paramam guyam mad bhaktesh bhavidasyati bhakti mai param kritva mame veshyat yasamshaya
Ya idam paramam guhyam. Madbhaktesh avidasyati. Bhakti mai param kritva. Mame vaishyati asamshaya. Ya idam param.
Yaidam paramam guyam.
Yahidam paramam guyam.
Madbhakteshva vidasyati.
Madbhakteshva vidasyati.
Bhaktimai param kritva.
Bhaktimai param kritva.
Amevaishyati asamshaya.
Mameveshyati samshaya.
Yaidam paramam guyam.
Yahidam paramam guyam.
Bhakteshva vidhasyate.
Madbhakteshva vidasyati.
Bhaktimai param kritva.
Bhaktimai param kritva.
Mam evaishyatya samshaya.
Mameveshyati samshaya.
Yaidam paramam guyam.
Yahidam paramam guyam.
Vidasyati.
Madbhakteshva vidasyati.
Bhaktimai param kritva.
Bhaktimai param kritva. Mamevaishyati asamshaya.
Yeah,
Ya,
anyone.
anyone.
Idam,
Idam,
this.
This
Paramam,
paramam,
most.
most.
Guyam,
Guyam,
confidential.
confidential.
Mat,
but
mine. Bhakteshu,
Bhakteshu,
among devotees of
Abhidasyati,
Abhidasyati, explains. Bhaktim, devotional service. My, unto me. Param, transcendental. Kritva, having done. Mam, unto me. Eva, certainly. Ashati, comes. Asamshaya, without doubt. Translation. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.E.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Generally, it is advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed amongst the devotees only. For those who are not devotees will neither understand Krishna nor Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not accept Krishna as he is and Bhagavad Gita as it is should not try to explain Bhagavad Gita whimsically and become offenders. Bhagavad Gita should be explained to persons who are ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is a subject matter for the devotees only and not for philosophical speculators. Anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. Om Ganatamirandasya Gananchana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Yadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raganantan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpate Yubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Sarasvate Devi Varavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18, text 68. Ya idam paramam guyam mad bhaktesh vabidasyati bhakti maya param kritva mameveshatya samshaya. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. Before speaking, I'll read the next verse, text 69 of chapter 18. Na matasman manusheshu kashchin me priyakritama bhaktim bhavita nachame tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi. The Krishna says in this text, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So I'll also read 67. The English is, this confidential knowledge may not be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engage in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Okay. Yeah. So, hey, what are we doing here? So this morning, Ananta Shakti Prabhu led class, and we had an enlivening discussion. And kind of this verse that we read, this text 68, it feels like a series of 5 verses that kind of appeared to me in our discussion this morning. It's like these are a series of 3, 4, 5 verses that come right after text 66 of this chapter, which is an oft quoted verse. Sarvadraman Parityagya Mame Kam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Mashucha, where Krishna says, abandon all varieties of yoga and religion, abandon all those processes that I've talked about for 18 chapters, and just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Mashucha, don't worry, like that. And then Krishna talks about, this verse that we read right now today, this is, Prabhupada often quotes this one too. So Krishna says that one who shares Bhagavad Gita, there's no one more dear to me than this person. So I was reminded of that as we were talking about Ananta Shakti and your stretch. And then I got like from you and Bharat talking this morning, like seems like regularly daily in your household, someone's leading class, you're sharing, you're leading class from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. And so one thing we can notice in this verse, and also the previous verse, the word confidential is used. And so in this verse, the word guyam, confidential, for one who explains the supreme secret. Okay, so you say, supreme secret. What do you mean secret? It's about like it's like we just billions of copies are distributed. Where's the big secret? And so similarly, in the verse we studied this morning, Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitrami Damutamam Prajakshavagamam Dharmyam Shushukam Kartumaviyam. So then Krishna, this is the king of knowledge. This is the most secret of all secret knowledges. So it's like, well, like everyone has access to it. So it's an open secret. It's not like, go in here, Krishna saying, broadcast the secret to billions of people. What's so secret about it? So, so it's an open secret. Because chapter 4, text 3 of Bhagavad Gita. Sa evayam maya tedya yogo prokta paratana. Bhaktosi me sakrajati vasyam etaduttamam. So Krishna says, Arjuna, you're able to understand this transcendental mystery because you're my devotee and you're my friend. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, Krishna's devotee and friend. So it's a secret, it's a mystery. We can be big scholars, we can try to read it, we can assess it, we can analyze it. And without the devotion, we won't have the key to unlock the secret. With the devotion, okay, then the secret is revealed. So it's an open secret, and there's a key in that. That's reading, studying, sharing Bhagavad Gita in the line of Arjuna and Srila Prabhupada. Then the secret's revealed to the extent that we're surrendered in devotion. Otherwise, remains a mystery. Now, okay, so certainly these verses could be a mystery. These verses could be a mystery. Okay, again, 67. This confidential knowledge may not be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Okay. So we know in 1965, Srila Prabhupada sailed on the cargo ship Jaladuta, and he gave Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam like that. So, okay, so as Prabhupada realized that here in the West, in New York, in Prague, in London, in Florida, there are no envious people. There's no one there who's envious or not devoted. No one there who's not austere. Yeah, no, so, okay. So, so that can seem like contradiction, mystery. I believe Prabhupada is responding to that apparent misunderstanding in the first line of the purport we read today. Generally, he used the word general. Generally, it is advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed amongst the devotees only, for those who are not devotees will neither understand Krishna nor Bhagavad Gita. So I understand that Krishna in these verses, he's saying, this is who Bhagavad Gita is for. And this is who it's for. And okay, as an analogy, like let's say there's a professor of physics teaching a master's course in physics. Okay, so the director of the department and the dean of the university, they make it clear, okay, this course, this is for those who already have their undergraduate degree in a hard science. It's for those who paid their tuition for the master's program. It's for those who've already taken these 3 prerequisites. It's for those it's for those who've shown serious, dedicated interest for higher level physics. That's who it's for. That's who it's for. And so Krishna saying, like, here's the prerequisites. This is who Bhagavad Gita is for. Yeah, so it's not just like, yeah, just some guy off the street who doesn't care about being a scholar or a scientist. Just kind of let him come in. No, this is what it's for. Now, okay, so that's one. But now let's say the physics professor, the physics professor is the physics. He's just so enthusiastic to share about science and physics. He's just so inspired. That kind of, wherever he goes, like he could be at a social event, a social party. He could be, maybe he has a child who plays sports and he's talking to the soccer coach or something. And he's just like going to share about physics. Now, the soccer coach is not qualified. and neither are the people at the social party. And maybe he goes, maybe he's part of a political party. He's going to talk about physics there. I mean, he's just like, that's his life. And so he understands they're not qualified to enter into the master's degree course like that. But he's like, I know you're not even interested to be interested, but like, I'm here to make you interested. And that's like Srila Prabhupada coming.
It's like us with horses.
Yeah, okay, we could use that example. We could use that example.
It's a real story. It's not like
It's a real
made-up
story.
metaphor.
Yeah. I'm going to make you interested in horses and horse riding.
I mean, and if not, we have nothing to speak about.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that's it. Now, and in following Srila Prabhupada, in attempting to follow Srila Prabhupada, we want to follow that spirit and completely like Srila Prabhupada. So of course we understand no one, we're studying Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text 68, really a series of 5 verses, 67 to 71. So of course no one wants to be perceived as like one of these noxious fanatical preachers or something like that. So, okay, so we can understand in that ideal world that the dean of the physics department and the director of the university, they're actually happy and pleased with the physics professor. He's just so inspired. He's trying to interest people who are not interested in physics. He's trying to interest them. And some of them might actually become like, oh, that's what Einstein's relativity. Some of them might become interested, and then they'll enter into a few might become interested, and they'll enter. Okay, what's the tuition for this degree program? And then I do want to get a math, maybe a small percentage.
Actually, watching on YouTube like a physics for children, and there are also some of these different experiments and so
I like that. Yeah, for children. Yeah, and now of course that the physics professor is going at, it would be a disservice to the service of knowledge and science and physics if like he goes out and in his presentation, whether to children or to the sports coach, if he's so obnoxious and arrogant that he gives people, I don't know, whatever physics is, people like you, I want nothing to do with it. So that relates to the ninth offense to the holy name, right? Like, because, to preach to the faithless. But the idea, also like, because just a few days ago we were in Prague and like, we were chanting Hare Krishna, and so everyone had full faith in the holy name and they realized it's non-different from God.
I hope so.
You hope so, yeah. But I think not, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even in our group.
Even in our group, yeah. So, right. So, so were we committing the ninth offense? No. Let's say if there we are in Prague, or you're out in books distribution, like that, and the idea is, yeah, like everyone, some will be so attracted and inspired, and some are innocent, and some might have negative reactions, but yeah, right, you can. But we're doing our service in an enthusiastic, respectful way. At least that's our endeavor. Now, let's say if we see some people there in Prague, Charles Bridge area, if we see some people and we go to them and we go, chant Hare Krishna mantra, take this book. No, I'm really not interested. You're a karmic demon. Okay, and then you're gonna go to the hellish planets like that, and they go just like, I want to rip up your book and throw it in the garbage because then they're becoming offensive and it's our fault. It's our responsibility. So that's caution against. That's caution against. All right. So Krishna's talking about here, this Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's for those who are already devotionally inclined. And like Srila Prabhupada, he knows Krishna's heart and mission. He knows Krishna's heart and mission. And so he's going to where people aren't interested in physics. People aren't interested. He's going to, he's going, people aren't interested in Bhagavatam. And through his sincerity, his potency, his Shakti, he's inspiring them to be interested, because ultimately Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajika Bunai Shravanadi Shuddhachite Karya, in the heart of all living entities, in the heart, if we go deep enough, even in our hearts, if we go deep enough, there's love of Krishna. And even the inclination here on a Saturday night, there's other things we could be doing on a Saturday night in Lisnice. There's other things we could be doing. But here we are, Kirtan, with the deity, Shri Madan Mohan, Shri Gauranitai, Srila Prabhupada, Kirtan, Bhagavad Gita. So that means that there's some love of Krishna being manifest. We're not saying we're experiencing the higher levels of Mahabhav or something like that, but it's some love of Krishna that's in the heart being manifest. So when Srila Prabhupada, he's coming to Boston Harbor, he's there in New York, in Butler, Pennsylvania, he's there in Florida, in London, he's in New Zealand, in Australia. He's not coming to New York and saying there's no devotees here. He's saying there's 13 million devotees in the New York metropolitan area. Most, maybe absolutely all, don't realize it. And I'm here to endeavor to be an instrument of Krishna and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta to support everyone to awaken to their natural blissful self in God consciousness. Right, on the ship, in one of Prabhupada's poems, he writes in one of his poems, he's writing to Krishna, I have no knowledge, I have no devotion. And so Srila Prabhupada's usually I think, I have a pretty lot of knowledge and I have impressive devotion. Just imagine, Srila Prabhupada's actually feeling that he has no knowledge and no devotion. That's not grungy, because that feeling of being unworthy, unqualified, inadequate, if it were grungy, then that would, because like when I'm feeling such things, that moves me to sleep and overeat and become grumpy and etc. But Srila Prabhupada, it moved him to even deeper determination to start and spread Krishna consciousness. Pritivete Yachayaga, Achayata Nagaradi Gram Sarvacha Prachapa, Horibe word to every town and village. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, Jagai Madai Hoite Muni Se Papista Pushare Kita Hoite Muni Se Lagishta. He says, I am more sinful than Jagai and Madai, and I'm lower than the worms and stool. He goes on to say, whoever hears my name, it loses the results of their pious activities. Whoever says my name becomes completely sinful.
You just said his name.
Yeah. Krishna's Kaviraj. Yeah, so we're encouraged, chant the name of Srila. So So he's an illusion, and Prabhupada's in illusion that he thinks he has no knowledge.
Maybe they should take the seminar in Wales.
Yeah,
Yeah. To get some subclass.
yeah, or they need some self-esteem training or something. But that's it. It's like everything material has its spiritual counter. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's despondency and feeling low about himself, that moves him. It's not so people tell him that he's a good guy. It's not for some shadow payoff. That moves him, even though he was physically not even able to write. He was suffering from old age symptoms, but it moved him to reveal the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So every emotion, every thought pattern in the material realm has its spiritual origin, and in the spiritual origin, it can sound depressing, despondent, and it's the foundation is ever increasing. Shuddhya Brahmasakyam Tranantam, ever increasing spiritual bliss. Spiritual bliss. I was just reminded when I was talking, I was giving the physics professor analogy. This was because, okay, I could have used to use horse riding. I remember, it should be hard. That's the next, no.
So you can actually pay attention.
Yeah. This was in 2009, and Sanaka Rishi Prabhu, he organized, actually for myself and Lionel Sarvadarshi, to facilitate a foundational and advanced at the Jiva Institute in Vrindavan, India. So we did a foundational, and Sanaka Rishi, he grew up in the Vrindavan ISKCON Gurukul, and in the 80s. And so primarily, he organized that. He organized those courses for his friends, for his friends who were at that time in their 30s, like that. And anyhow, and many of his associates from childhood did come to those courses from different places in the world. And and also some who identify as devotees, practitioners of bhakti yoga, they also came, like, those who are not second generation, they also came to those courses at the Jiva Institute, and that's quite a special wild adventure. Anyhow, there was one person, like the foundational course had like 40, and the advanced course started with 27. At the beginning of day 2, we had 19.
Good job.
And it was a strong 19, because then those 19 stayed for the full course. But yes. So anyhow, there was one in the course of all of one in the course who didn't even know what bhakti yoga was, and his story was he had his name was Peter. He was in his 60s at the time. He was from England, and his sister, he had a younger sister, and like in 2005 in Glastonbury, England, she took the foundational and advanced. And she was kind of like, she kind of had been to kirtan, and she was like a healer, and she did, I don't think she had any bhakti sadhana, but that was kind of her life, and probably vegetarian and things like that. And he was an accountant. He was an accountant, and kind of, I call him like a conservative British accountant. And she had been suggesting to him for years, you'll really get a lot of value from the Safitov courses. And so at some point he thought, okay. And so he was moved enough by his sister, like after 3-4 years. So he said, okay, I'm going to take some time off from my accounting. And he looked on the Safitov calendar, and there were 3 courses in 2009. There was courses in Foundational Advanced in Switzerland, Florida, and a place called Vrindavan, India. He didn't know what Vrindavan, India was. And anyhow, he thought, well, Switzerland, Florida. He said, well, I've never been to India. I'll take it there. Right. So not just the Safato thing, but then he's pumped into all these Vaishnav youth. There's like just layers upon layers of wildness. And he's just this conservative British accountant at the Jiva. It's, oh my God. One thing I'll say, so by the end of the 2 weeks, his bhakti sadhana was probably stronger and more committed than maybe practically anyone else who was in the course. I say, because kind of, I don't want to overly generalize, but the Vaishnav youth, for many, it's not so much about discipline and commitment, it's about loving Krishna in the heart. And so, but he was actually committed to chant rounds by the end of the 2 weeks, quite special. So after the course, he got into coaching with me. And I remember he wrote a pact, a personal achievement compact. And he wrote a pact, yeah. And his main part of his pact was his career. And there, because he was, he'd probably been an accountant for 40 years. And he said, here now at the closure years of his career, his intention was to show the world that accounting can be vibrant, colorful, fun, and
He goes
vital.
completely crazy in Vrindavan.
Yeah, right. No, right. Because, so there I was in the role of his coach. And I'm like, with clear intention, anything's possible, and consciousness and the result, spirit is superior to matter. And he was, I'm going to show that accounting is full of adventure and like that. And I was like, well, of course, in theory, but like, I didn't want to like discourage my client from thinking big, but let's be realistic. We're talking about accounting like that.
Sounds like you were full of preconceptions.
I was looking at all my judgments and this and that, but this was really like where he was at. So I just reminded of the physics professor, but this is even more because he was like, I'm going to show the world accounting is full of life and it's joyful. But like I needed to hide my nonverbals because I needed to.
Very hard.
I needed him to feel so. No, I'll bring it. This is true story. I'll bring. Yeah, I'm reminded actually of your stretch, and you asked the question, "What is the most boring thing in the world?"
I did. Oh, I see. It was the first stretch.
Your first stretch.
Okay.
It made some scar for me.
Okay.
And then everyone in the room, including staff, no one knew where you were going, but I knew exactly where you were going. And I declared the most boring thing in the world is economic theory.
Oh, I see.
And then you felt completely understood by me. And then you did you did the equations.
Oh, that was fun.
That was fun. So, okay, so he's in coaching with me and I'm supporting him to demonstrate to the world experientially and conceptually how accounting is fun. And so it's about 3-4 months later and I'm at my home office, in 2010, and I get a call, and the call's from his sister who had inspired to take the course. Now, I'll mention, so by that time, in England, he's going to kirtan programs, he's chanting japa, he's not looking so much like a conservative British accountant. And I get a call from his sister, and his sister says, David, Peter was riding his bicycle, he had a heart attack, and he died. He had a heart attack and he died. So I was shocked. Because he really was so full of life. And he just had a heart attack and died while riding his bike.
He must be doing accounting for Prabhupada.
Yeah. Now he probably gets a chance for that. So, but then, so it was sad. At the same time, she expressed deep gratitude. She said these last 6 to 8 months of his life, since he took Safitov and he's been doing the transformative coaching, his it's because I've known him my whole life, and it brought such joy to him. He loved kirtan, and so I just thought to share. That was I went on for a bit, but about Peter there. So also I'm reminded of a quote by Viktor Frankl. He's the one who said between stimulus and response, there's a moment of choice. He also said that when a human being is not connected with deep purpose, then he gets distracted by enjoyment. So that can be confusing what do you mean distracted by enjoyment? Enjoyment is the purpose.
Is what?
Is the purpose. Okay, we can think like that. Of course, this gets into what you were saying, Yogeshwar, a day or two ago. Like, yeah, we're going to serve. We're going to serve. And if we're serving simply the enjoyment of our senses, there's no fulfillment there. All right? And then, like, let's say as a baby, a baby gets older, then maybe there's some conception. At some point, I'm going to share my toys with my friends, and there's some higher fulfillment. Oh, I'm going to help mom in the kitchen, and maybe even the help is more of a disturbance, but still there's idea. I'm going to help. Okay, then maybe, oh yeah, let me serve my community. But still, so there's more and more fulfillment. The more extended is our conception of service. Still, it's a bodily conception. And so the ultimate extension, I'm going to water the root of the tree, and that's going to nourish all the branches, all the leaves. So the root of the tree, Yata Tarur Mulani Shechanena, that's Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. So as aspiring devotees, we want to please Srila Prabhupada. We want to please Krishna. And Krishna says, okay, the best way to do that is to share this knowledge, share this process, share this knowledge. Every moment we're sincerely endeavoring to do that, we become more dear to Krishna. Krishna is always loving us, just like a parent is always loving the child. And there are some things the child can do that they become even more dear to the parent. And so
They
again,
sleep well at night.
like to sleep at night. Okay. You're trying to communicate a message there.
He actually raised his eyebrows when I saw him.
Okay. We'll see what the results are. We'll see how it goes. So again, no one wants to be this obnoxious, arrogant preacher. At the same time, in the line of Srila Prabhupada, to share in a way that's respectful and non-attached, committed to share, and it's not about my ego or I need for you to change. Remembering there's a letter from December 1972, Srila Prabhupada to Balavanta Prabhu, William Ogle, who's a highly experienced lawyer in Florida and a Safito graduate. And Prabhupada writes, he says, if we want intelligent people to come to the Krishna consciousness movement, it's important that we're really good listeners, And he cites the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listening for many days to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Prabhupada, he's not saying to agree or pretend to agree with them if they're speaking Mayavad nonsense, but but we listen, we understand, we appreciate, Prabhupada used that term, we appreciate their points of view. And he said that this skill is so essential if we want to attract intelligent people to Bhakti Yoga, to the Sankirtan movement. And again, Lord Chaitanya listened for days. And then at some point, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, well, you've heard me, you've been listening. But yeah, I'm not clear. What's your perspective? Do you have a point of view? Then, Lord, people don't care what you know till they know that you care. So Sarvabhauma, I got you. You care what I have to say. And then Lord Chaitanya said, well, since you asked what I think, okay, let's get into it. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was open and full amazing transformation. So this sharing Krishna consciousness, it's with empathy, super soul connection, respect, with discretion according time, place, person, circumstance, and it's without, I'll call it without moral superiority. It's not, yeah, like to the extent that we're really shushukam kartumavyam, to the extent that we're alive in the joy of Krishna consciousness, there's no room in our heart to feel like I'm better than you because I follow these principles and I get up early. That's all material ego for adoration and distinction. And so to the extent that we're really alive, humbly alive in the joy of Krishna consciousness, then it's sharing, it's not trying to show our superiority. And yeah, and we could use let's say, it's very simple. Just let's say a child has a candy or a game or a new toy, and it's like, oh, I want to share this with you. Play this. You'll have fun like I'm having fun. So the other kid could say, do you think you're superior to me because you're telling me how to have fun? I'm sharing. You get to choose whether you want the piece of candy or not, in the spirit of sharing. And I know what I just shared. It's been part of my process for, since I came to Krishna consciousness 40 change up for 42 years or so, and taking prasad for about 3 years before that, but especially since I started chanting and with some seriousness studying Prabhupada's books. Because so before I came to Krishna consciousness, certainly one of my pleasures in life was showing that I'm smarter than others. It's one of my pleasures. And so Krishna consciousness, that could feed into that very well, because now because I was thinking I was smarter than others, even though I was completely ignorant about everything, didn't even realize I was ignorant. But now I actually have knowledge. Okay, now I'm actually sharing logical knowledge and truth and reality and like that. And so, well, that's good. But then I used that to feed the weed in my heart of like, I'm smarter than, and others could feel that, I would get feedback. I would get feedback like, okay, maybe what you're saying makes sense, but their experience of me was you're this arrogant fellow. And then I would, I was like, oh, as decades went on, I realized I should probably try to pull that weed. And so, hopefully I'm making some, I'm progressing a few inches on that path. So this verse, Yaidam Paramam Guya Mad Bhakti Shabidashiti Bhakti Maya Pram Kritva Mamedesha Shaya. The one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees. Devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end, he will come back to me. Thanks for giving your hearing power to Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. I welcome any comments, questions, realizations, inspirations anyone would like to share, whether in person here in Lisnice or online. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So why do you think accounting is boring?
Oh.
I don't understand that. I understand everything from your class, but this
But
I cannot understand.
my filtered, biased, prejudiced judgment.
Like, yeah, what it is about accounting.
So Yogeshwar Prabhu, just so you know, make it live and in person. So the question is, how come I, David Wolf, dear Govinda, think accounting is boring? So, okay. So I've transformed.
Huh?
I've
Okay.
transformed. Yes, there when I started coaching my client Peter, I had that conception. I think I did okay to suspend that judgment. I don't think he caught on to my limiting belief. Like, well, Peter, that's not really busum. So, you know, there's a letter from Srila Prabhupada, where Srila Prabhupada writes. There's a letter from Srila Prabhupada where Srila Prabhupada writes. He writes, bookkeeping is the most important service. I've shared that over decades. I've shared that with many, and they say book distribution. I said no. Prabhupada wrote bookkeeping. I can show you the letter. Now, of course, there are letters where Prabhupada says book distribution is the most important service. Where teaching, raising the children is the most important service. There's letters where Prabhupada says, opening up Govinda's restaurant, opening up Prasadam restaurants is the most important service. The deity worship, but there's a letter Prabhupada says, bookkeeping is the most important service. So Prabhupada's fully enthusiastic. Prabhupada's not seeing it as boring. So through my client Peter, I think I created some transformation in my viewpoint.
And so if you were to describe it to someone, like how can the service of accounting or bookkeeping like serve as a like full manifestation of the joy of the soul?
Yeah.
Because that, and yes, I am serious because that's like an important point.
It is an important point. Yeah. Well, I was making jokes, but so, right. If we read a few more verses, we'll hear Sanjaya saying, witnessing this dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna, Yatra Parta Danordara, Tatra Shir Vijaya Bhutir. Dhruva meet Matir Mama. Juna, yeah. Wherever there's Krishna and Arjuna, there's opulence, power, morality, and power. What's the fourth? Opulence, power, morality.
Morality. Victory.
Opulence, power, morality, and
Extraordinary power.
extraordinary power. Okay. And so Sanjaya says, witnessing this conversation, I'm experiencing a thrill at every moment. So to the extent that we're absorbed in this, then yeah, we can say to brush our teeth, it's colorful, bright, vibrant, ever expanding joy, because it's not intrinsically about the accounting.
Exactly, it's not about the
It's not about the brushing of the teeth. It's not about the accounting. It's not intrinsically about cutting the vegetables. It's not intrinsically about changing diapers. But it is about, I'm doing this for Krishna's project. Prabhupada is so appreciative that we're not wasting a penny. Devotees of Yarta Kalatvam. It doesn't waste a moment, doesn't waste a penny, doesn't waste a grain of rice. we're using everything for Krishna, and by accounting in an organized way, then everything's systematic for the temple, the project, the household, and everyone's mind's clear, and we're engaged in yukta vairagya, and this is supporting that. This is truly exciting. This is the bliss of the soul. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm taking bath, a shower. I'm keeping this body clean to engage in Krishna's service, and that's truly I'm changing the diapers to care for to raise the spirit, soul, and spiritual life, and I'm grateful and joyful to do that. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, because like we think that the experience comes from the activity,
The activity, yeah.
but the experience really comes from our consciousness.
Yeah.
So we can make anything exciting.
Yeah.
And regardless of the activity. Yeah.
Thanks for that. And even things that seem exciting will quickly become dull and faded if we're not experiencing the connection to service to Krishna.
Yes, and like especially the bookkeeping, like
Yeah.
if I want to like preach in a big scale, I need the resources.
Yeah.
Because like as I'm part of the group, we read the description of life of Prabhupada, that,
Yeah.
like from, let's say, from the 30s till the 60s.
Yeah.
Prabhupada was like partly or fully engaged in preaching the word of Krishna, and there are many opportunities, and many of those opportunities went away because Prabhupada did not have the resources at that point, simply. So he continued on a small scale, and like those people in India did not want to like commit themselves. So it was like 30 years of struggle.
True. Yeah.
Of like at least like it looked like struggle.
Yeah.
Yes. So that then like if some resources come, it's important to maintain them well. So it's like a big part of the practice of the devotional service, even more than some other things.
Yes. I appreciate very much. And we can see Prabhupada's example with bookkeeping and accounting. His New York diary, the diary for his, I mean, Srila Prabhupada, he was accounting. He was doing bookkeeping for every penny. Like he was, like if he was my expenses for vegetables. Here's, I sold a set of Bhagavatam. Here's what came in. So, and we have no doubt Srila Prabhupada was fully joyful in that activity, and it's not the activity per se, that he's doing that activity for the Sankirtan mission. He's blissful.
Yeah, even his expensing for bus ride.
Even for the bus ride, yeah.
So, Arjuna, how much did you spend on bus ride yesterday?
Actually, in the Mexico, I was also doing this.
You were,
I was like a treasurer and writing like yogurt at 20 pesos, milk this, bus this.
Yes.
So yeah, I have a little bit experience. Little.
And like, if you think about it, what value do you think it brought? Like,
Blood?
like
What it means?
what you created with that bookkeeping.
I was like more aware what I'm actually doing, and that I'm actually taking care of Prabhupada money and not just throwing them there. That what I really like this feeling, like actually, okay, these are Prabhupada money, and I should be careful what I'm actually doing. So yes, very nice service for me also.
Yeah, it's like also like part of my experience, like the sense of being like that I'm managing the money,
Yeah.
that I'm like responsible,
Yeah.
the sense of responsibility, and then like of course it's that I can like connect it's Prabhupada's money.
Yeah.
It's not mine money.
Yeah.
So that sounds like some progress.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I get some detachment, and detachment usually gives me some more strength in handling the resource.
Strength, clarity.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not about like the sense gratification, the impulse, because if I know that if I buy something stupid,
Yeah.
then I will need to write it down in the book.
Yeah. And
Because I might not do that.
you need to confront yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm also doing bookkeeping.
Yes.
I'll explain. That's the computer files. There is a dramatic pause. Okay. So my bookkeeping, Hare Krishna, is that I, for example, print 300 Bhagavad Gitas.
Yeah.
And then I keep them. And then I try to distribute them, and no one wants it.
Yeah.
So I am thinking like I need different books.
Yeah.
So I go to BBT and order some small books like Nectar of Instruction or something, 100 copies, and then I keep them.
You keep on stuff. Yeah.
And that's how I do bookkeeping. It's a very important service.
You keep books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if, like anytime someone needs books, they can come to me because I have so many versions of like what's his name? Makanchora Prabhu's Slovakian translation of Shah Prabhupada
You're
books.
keeping that one too.
I'm keeping them.
You never run out of stock because you keep the book.
Right.
Especially those Slovak books.
And I keep like a really high number of these books. And anytime I try to distribute them, I see no one wants, so I get the more books of a different kind and keep them.
By your example, you're giving a whole alternate perspective to what bookkeeping really means.
It is, and it's, I have to say, it's a really a blissful service. It's fun. I think everyone should keep like stocks of these books at their home.
Fortunately, you have ample storage room here to keep a lot of books.
Yeah, I keep them. That's all I can think of bookkeeping. And well, thank you very much for your enlivening class, Dhira, Govinda, Prabhu. I had a lot of fun and realizations. And like two things is like that like relates to my thinking, recent thinking is when you share, like when we don't come like from the top down platform, but
Yeah.
really like a child
Yeah.
having a great toy and wanting to share.
Yeah.
So I think that has been my experience past year. I'm not saying it's like some like progress towards software or something, but just because I was like so going into the demigod like approach.
Yes, yes.
Maybe like taking the Bhakti Yoga path less seriously in some ways.
Okay.
You know, I don't, yeah, I'm really not sure what's happening, but that's how I would think. So then my false ego of like, you know, this like serious like practitioner of Bhakti Yoga is like completely crashed. Because I just, you know, I want to have fun, I want to enjoy, you know, I go to swim with the dolphins, I play with the horses, you
It
know.
helps you to not feel better because you're so austere.
No, it really. And I spoke with you after I swim with the dolphins, like the last bits of my like false like idea, like, you know, I'm like really going somewhere high. And it's so attractive for the people around me. I never had this experience of like so many people being just so attracted by what I am doing. And the last 7-day seminar we had, it was like a combination of advanced Sattva course with horses. Horses really facilitated all
That's course with horses.
Yeah, the horses facilitated all the processes. Don't ask me how. And after that we had a spiritual program, which was like a practically completely the same, like after any of the 7-day courses that I was facilitating, and Christina was there, so she can she can maybe remember. Like I would always start the philosophical root program by like, okay, if we had a circle of shame, and what am I like most ashamed about? This is what I would say, right? Correct. And this time I was like, like we all had like really like a joyful, profound, deep experiences, great time with the horses, and I told them, and this is just the best part of my life, and it should be like a part of the seminar, but I don't want to, like I want everyone to feel free to be here. This is just like the best joy of all joy that we experience here. And that was my mood, and I got the feedback, they all said like when we were in the seminar with you, we could like really see like you are like completely 100% enthusiastic about the horses. But when you spoke about Krishna, it was just like a whole different level of like joy. And then all of them, as far as I know, all of them are chanting now. All of them took beads, and they all gave donation for the beads, like quite a big donation, which never happened. No one ever gave any donation for the beads, and everyone gave like 200 or more Czech crowns for the set of the beads. So, and it was just like this, like, like I have a really nice life, and this is like the cherry on the cake, and if you want to take, and if you don't want to, I don't care.
The childlike detachment, share, here's really yummy candy, here's a great toy, and it's attractive, it's appealing.
Yeah, and because I have this feeling like, and if they don't take it, whatever, I feel like, I'm like so fallen that I don't have like this like intense like desire for them to take it. And then the second, and I think that might actually be like relatable, like you said, how Bhaktivinoda Thakur, not Bhaktivinoda, well, he also, and now I Gorakishore Das Babaji, you said that he said that if you mention his name, that we will be condemned.
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Thank you for this curse, Krishnadas Kaviraj. So I have like also quite an I'm not saying that I'm like on their level, but I have like so much experience of like, okay, like I'm stupid. I think I'm stupid. And then sometimes, sometimes it's this really like grungy, and then Yogeshwara says something, and I think like he thinks I am stupid, and I get like all offended, shout at him. But then I have like so much like moments when I like really like like I'm stupid, like I am, I'm in this world, and really like my intelligence, as much as I'm proud of it, is like, not that great. And it feels so good. Like I don't need to fight with anyone, I don't need to prove myself.
You're not resisting.
Prabhupada cares about me anyway, and it's just and like accepting all this like I'm not lovable, and then like I know there is like so many people in my life who still like care about me so deeply, and it like increase my like joy and gratitude for like what I'm like getting in life, rather than like trying to prove that I am lovable or I'm something. So yeah, it's just such a nice place to be with this like, yes, like because like my idea of the process in the advanced course, I think everyone needs to graduate here, right? Yes.
Yes.
When we do this self-defeating tapes, I always thought that the idea is like to like get like free ourselves from it.
To free ourselves,
right? Like I'm not lovable, so if I do this process, I will feel like so lovable and so like high self-esteem. But I think like no, it's really about like accepting it.
Accepting it,
I'm not lovable, and just like really like kind of relish that. And so
just like that, you said, I'm not lovable, and you were smiling and looked joyful.
No, not that I'm there all the time, but I have like more and more like time that I am just completely joyful about it. Yes, so and that's also like it's so easy then to not be like coming from this top down like superior, like
moral superiority.
right, like I'm so much better because I'm a vegetarian and this. And then of course that's not very attractive to the people.
Not attractive. Thanks for all that sharing. Thanks for all that you shared. It's moving me in personal ways. Thank you, Ladini.
Hare Krishna.
Govinda bro for this nice using of the verses. Thank you for your class. It was inspiration for me. And like I like when I like the way you were shared when you were talking about this sharing this about this also spoke the words about the sharing of this knowledge among devotees.
Yeah.
And to repeat, talk about philosophy, talk about experiences, and I have also like some little like I have some little also problem, like for example where I listen like a class of some for example when I was in Mexico or Germany. When I was like listening a class from some Prabhu, and I was like many times thinking like this we heard many times.
We've heard this so many times,
and this is like again and again and like this, but yes, it's like it actually doesn't matter. I realized that like that we just hear this transcendental knowledge, this Shravanam.
Yeah.
So even if we are just repeating it, so it's like purifying us.
Yeah.
But it's actually interesting because, for example, when I listen Prabhupada, and he also, for example, repeat many times.
We're not this body.
The same thing.
Same thing.
But this is like giving me like really like a pleasure. Like by this, I'm not triggered, but by some devotees, I'm like triggered. So I'm thinking like, why of this? Like that. Maybe there's like some personal.
What is it inside you that you're triggered?
No.
And this devotees is sharing the transcendental knowledge, and so what rather than experiencing it as ever fresh, and that an opportunity to pull the weeds and anartha nivritti, you become annoyed and irritated. So you're looking at that.
It's like because in Prabhupada I have like I'm like convinced that Prabhupada is a pure devotee. Prabhupada is our guru, and what he speaks it's completely transcendental. So I actually accepted this, and even when I listen 20 times, I'm in this body. I feel like pleasure and like purified. But maybe I don't have like the full faith, maybe
the full trust. Where is this speaker coming from?
Yes, and yes, I have like doubts sometimes about the speakers that they are not enough qualified, and yes, and so actually they just talking, but there is not like this potency of the Prabhupada. But I actually also read like some letter or some conversation where Prabhupada was telling that where you just repeat what I'm telling, it is completely transcendental. And so even when like from my point of view, neophyte devotees are just trying to repeat, it's actually the same message as from Prabhupada. Or
I'm hearing Arjuna Prabhu, and it could be that some of your assessments and judgments about the Prabhu speaking, there could be validity to some of those judgments. At the same time, in one sense, to whatever extent that's true isn't most important. What's like most important is like how how effectively am I showing up here? Because here I am in the role of being a hearer, doing Shravanam. How well am I receiving and processing in a way to maximize my cleansing of heart and Krishna consciousness? And to whatever extent I might be right or not right about, this Prabhu's level of advancement or neophyte, to what extent am I reacting in a way that's about me being right and me lording it over and my strengthening my false ego, and that gets to like the more vital question.
Like there's one more principle that comes because it can be like what did I say? That also it can be like because all these emotions also have their spiritual counterpart.
Yeah.
Right. So that anger also can be like a protection. I'm not saying it's true or not. It's like for your consideration, but it really can be like, well, my boundaries is that I don't want to hear from this person.
Yeah.
Because I want to like protect myself from a sound vibration that could potentially be like damaging, and maybe. If I'm like completely feeling like 100% solid in knowing Shah Prabhupada, I can hear and like hear through the lenses of Shah Prabhupada and maybe have like a constructive conversation. But maybe to the degree that I do feel like insecure, like maybe, my knowledge of Shah Prabhupada is not that vast and, this person could there is a risk I could really get confused. Then it might be true, or even a super soul guidance. Let's not hear from this person. And if I don't listen to this guidance within, it can also come as an anger. So, it's really for every one of us to distinguish where it's coming from, but I just want to make the point that it can fully be a super soul guidance, just get out of here.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Yeah, so to experience our experience, noticing what we're feeling and thinking, and then how to process it and interpret it. One could be, oh yeah, I'm just trying to make myself superior to this, and look at that. Then there's one particular place not far from where I reside, and actually for years I was regularly going to classes there and like that. And then I noticed myself becoming irritated and annoyed and this and that. And I could have spoken up and tried to rectify the misconceptions, this and that. But then, irritated, annoyed. And then in that particular circumstance, it's probably been close to more than a decade. So I established boundaries. Like that's not how I want to spend my time. That's not where I want to do my Shravanam. So I listened to that. There's a message there. Thank you.
Thank you both of you for your sharing and understanding of this topic.
Thank you, Arjuna.
I have something about meditate, and thank you.
And I've much appreciated the exchange about bookkeeping and accounting, and I appreciated it, Yogeshwar and Arjuna, the standard you shared, and Prabhupada's standard in keeping track of every penny, and just I'm looking like I'm pretty far from that. I'm pretty far from being conscious in my money management. I'll call it that because money management includes accounting, bookkeeping. I'm pretty far from being conscious, and maybe it was a few days ago, or I think it was I shared that to the degree that I get as my life goes on, that I get realization that not just I'm not this body, but this isn't even my body. This is Krishna's. This is for service to Prabhupada's movement. To the degree that I have that realization, I'm more conscious and I'm more dedicated to care for the body well, compared to when just the goal of life is sense gratification, then I'm more apt to neglect the body. So that's my experience. So similarly, just in this conversation, I'm getting more awareness. It's not my money. It's not my credit card. It's not my savings account. It's not my checking account. It's not mine. I'm not saying I have much realization, but I have half a drop more realization than 2 hours ago. And so that's helpful for me to be more conscious and sober about the service of money management, of Lakshmi. To the extent that I'm conscious in service to Prabhupada, then it truly becomes Lakshmi management. Hare Krishna.
I think here is like a forming a resistant corner about that idea.
I'm noticing some non-verbal happening there. Trying to interpret the meaning of the communication.
Like it's not for everyone to
Just sharing my realization with non-attachment. Not saying not saying you need to do anything.
Well, it depends on your goal, right?
Yeah.
Always. Like now, Dhira Govinda Prabhu, you are part of the Justice for Prabhupada
Yeah.
project, and
Right.
I believe that there is someone who will do the bookkeeping
It's true.
for the project,
That's
and
true.
it's an important part
Yeah.
of the project because the project needs a lot of resources,
A lot of resources. That's
all the
true.
goals.
Yeah.
So it's like a vital part of the service for
It's true.
Prabhupada, and it's an important service. So it's like right there, and what like you are, Prabhu said. So like we usually react like badly when we sense that something is false. So like if someone is giving class,
Yeah.
and like okay, I'm giving class, and I'm like disconnected from the
Yeah.
words I'm actually saying.
Yeah.
So I'm inauthentic.
Yeah.
So for example, I'm giving class on this verse, like susukam kartum avyam.
Yeah.
Joyfully perform, like it's joyfully perform, and
yeah.
I like that. I'm like,
Chant and be happy.
yeah, it's a joy of the soul. Yeah, so that's of course like disturbing.
Yeah.
In a way. So I very like connect with the joy. My experience about the class is then it's usually better to just talk about my own experience,
Personal experience. Yeah.
in connection with with Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
like what's happening for me.
Yeah.
And then those who are listening could become engaged in hearing because it's becoming authentic.
Yeah.
And like it's like impossible to like support someone if I'm inauthentic myself, because we do not hear the words. Like the words are there,
Yeah.
they are important, but we kind of soak in the experience of the speaker.
I can't.
So it's more than the words.
Yeah. I can't hear what you're saying. Your actions speak so loud.
Yes.
So yeah. Thanks for that point, especially that you bring in this Justice for Srila Prabhupada Foundation. We formed that about 9 months ago. Of course, I've been involved in that service of trying to reveal the realities of Srila Prabhupada's departure pastime for 28 years. But yeah, we formed Justice for Srila Prabhupada Foundation in April of 2024. And our letters started going out in mid-September of 2024. And I was a signer in all the letters, every one, until you may have noticed, at some point, maybe late November, we started sending some letters on fundraising and accounting, and I was no longer a signer because it's not my area of expertise. But there's someone, well, Naveen, it is his area. He's economy. Actually, he was the global minister for finances and fundraising for ISKCON. And then there's someone else, his name is Rajan Jani Prabhu, he's based in Kenya, he's international finance, currencies, he knows it. So I didn't sign that. I said, yeah, he knows it. And so those letters I'm not, because it would be like, why is Dhira Govinda Das signing letters on that? And so I'd feel inauthentic. Thanks for that.
I was wondering why you did not sign the letter.
So you did notice that? Yeah.
Which answers all the questions.
Actually, Anandini specifically wrote to me because she said, you're not signing these letters. And I explained, yeah, because actually Naveen said, he even said, maybe you should sign the letters. I said, no, it's not my field, it's not my area. I mean, I don't have expertise. And, but the two of you do, so. Because Nandini wrote, 'cause she thought like, are you backing away from the positions? I said, no, I'm completely 100% enthusiastic, committed. It's just,
Just not about the fundraising.
yeah,
management.
it doesn't make sense for me to say, so you noticed that.
I was also thinking, oh, what is this? But then I saw you signed another letter. And
That's
I
it,
was
yeah.
like,
And after 2 weeks, I was, so, thanks for sharing. Anything else, any other comments, questions, realizations, or inspirations? Thanks for hearing and discussing Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Prasadam.